Hey crafty family, it's me, and today we are going to make some really fun collage papers that are really pretty and pretty awesome. And I use deli paper. So yeah, let's get started. So what you need is some watercolor paints. You can use cheap watercolor paints. You can use not, cheapy. These are intermediate, I guess. They're, they're not that expensive. They're what, 30 bucks? I'll put a link to where you can get these in the description below because they are pretty freaking awesome and epic, and I love them. Now, you could do it one of two ways. You could stack like 3 pieces and do them all at once. I kind of like to do them individually. Also, for this, you're going to want to use a craft mat. And since I'm going to do probably more than one, I'm going to use this movable one so I can move it out of my way when I'm finished. I'm going to move some things out of the way, and I'm going to get a brush. Now you can do several things. You can wet it first, which, I like to wet all my paints, and then you can go through and wet your brush, and then you can wet down your paper. Now, of course, it's not going to stay perfectly flat. You're going to get these wrinkles, which actually looks pretty cool. The nice thing about doing it on deli paper as opposed to doing it on and then you're just going to slap color down, as opposed to doing it on tissue paper is going to rip. So yeah, that's never going to be a good idea. But the nice thing about this is you can slap as much color as you want and get it as wet as you want, and it's really not going to rip, surprisingly. So it's pretty neat. So that's basically what you're going to do, is just slap color down. And sometimes where it has the wrinkles in it, it actually looks pretty cool because it gets like these white marks in it, or light marks in it. Let's try some green. I don't have any with like blues and greens, so we'll do some of that. So blue and green. We'll put a little yellow in there, kind of give it some interesting colors. Let's do, what's this? Oh, we can add some purple over here. You're not going to add the purple where the yellow is, though. You're going to keep that to where the blue mostly is. You probably don't want to do it too close to where the green is either. Do this color here. Some interesting darker colors on this one than I did on my other ones. Let's do some more blues. And different green as well. I'm just doing whatever. Why not? Now, what I like to do is when you're all done, which I'm going to go through and just dot some color on there with different stuff, just because I can. Because why not? Just to give it something. Why not? I'm going to dry this a little bit with my heat gun, but not completely dry, just a little bit, just to take some of the real super dampness out of it. Okay, I took a lot of the super wetness out of it. So when I had first done this is about the time where I thought, oh, well, that's all fun and good, but when it's completely dry and I rip it up and I go to glue it down with Mod Podge, it's going to run the color because it's watercolor. Watercolor is always water reactive, right? So that was what it was in my head. So I thought, well, there's got to be a way that I can make it so that it's not like that. And now you can do a couple things. You can take some watered down Mod Podge in a little bowl, and I don't recommend you putting it directly into your watercolor paints, but what you can do is take your watercolor paints like you normally would and, you know, put a little bit of it down, you know, wherever, and then dip your brush into the watered down Mod Podge to spread it. But make sure you rinse your brush out before you touch your paints, because you don't want to get the Mod Podge mixture here. But when I say watered down Mod Podge, I mean like really watered down, or use Elmer's glue to make homemade kind of Mod Podge type of glue, but water it down even more. You know, just water it down some. And then I thought, well, that takes a lot of work, and that's kind of a pain in the butt, and I don't want to have to do that. So then I came up with a spray bottle version of basically a sealer. So I took this Deco Arts multi-surface sealer, which is basically a varnish. It's a very liquidy varnish, and I filled this halfway with like water, and then I filled it almost to the top with this stuff, and then I squirted like a tablespoon of Elmer's glue in it, mixed it up, and then when I'm all done and I let it dry for just a little bit, just so it's not sopping wet, I can just go over this with this. And now, like, this is why I said put it on a non-stick mat, and just let it dry with this on it. Okay, so there you go. You let this dry on your non-stick mat, and then this way, if you want to take some of your collage, let's say, you know, now even if you don't do that, even if you just put the watercolor on the deli paper, it doesn't actually run that much when you do it. It doesn't run a tremendous amount unless you sit there with the brush and the glue and keep going, then it will run. But if you just are quick about it and you don't fuss, it won't run. It doesn't run, or it doesn't run very much to notice it. But for all intents and purposes, if you don't want it to run at all, like here is the dark, like a dark color, right? This is after it's been sprayed with this. Okay, I'll show you that it doesn't run. You would put your glue down, you would lay your piece down, and then you'd glue over it, and as you can see, it doesn't run onto the rest of the book page. You don't see any blue coming off of it because I sealed it with that spray. And I went over it a few times. So that's what that will do. It will prevent it from, it'll prevent it from running, and it doesn't take long to make. And once you make it, you got it, and you can use it for other things, I guess, if you want. I'm sure there are other things you can use this for, as a sealer for your pages when you do your pastels maybe or something. I don't know how that would work, but I know that for this purpose, and to have some really cool and colorful collage papers that are really kind of cool that you can overlay onto things, this method works. Because I know somebody's going to say, well, it's watercolor, so as soon as you put it down, it's going to run. Well, not now, and it didn't hurt the integrity of what I did, and it dries perfectly fine, and it works. So you should give this a try. It's a lot of fun, and give it a try with watercoloring on the deli paper, because you get these really cool like lines, which is why I said don't worry about it being straight, and don't worry about trying to like, because you get these really cool lines that give it some texture and interesting. And if you use metallic, you get like, you know, it looks really shiny and cool looking. So yeah, this is a fun way to do that. So I hope you will give this a try, and I'm going to let that dry, and what I'm going to do is I'll come back when that is completely dry and show you what the one that we actually worked on looks like when it's all dry. So stay tuned, I will be back. Okay, and we are back, and it is dry and fabulous. The side that was next to the craft mat is like shinier, but anyway, this side is very matte, and it dries really nice. And I already have one here from before, but I will take a brush and some glue, and I will rip off a piece, and we will test it to make sure that it is not going to smudge and run. First we'll put some glue on the bottom and put it there, and then take glue and put it on the top, and voila, you have non-running watercolor paper that you can use to collage with, which is awesome, because you know, then you can just make a bunch of these at once. If you're going to stack them on top of each other and do it that way and let it bleed through, you have to separate them in order to spray them with the solution. To, you know, they can't be on top of each other when you spray them. But you can do one at a time. It won't take long. You can just throw some color on, spray it. If you have a couple of these sheets, you can just move it aside, because you want it to dry on this, because obviously if you're spraying it with some sort of varnish or glue type of thing, you don't want to set it on something where it's going to stick. So it's got to be on a non-stick mat to dry. So obviously if you have more than one non-stick mat, then you could do several. If you only have one, you could probably use a garbage bag. You could probably put out a garbage bag and that'll work just fine. You know, a piece of plastic or cling wrap will probably work just fine. So you could do that, but just, you know, do one, spray it, move it aside, take another one, spray it, move it aside, and then you can do a bunch at one time and have yourself, you know, a good pile of collage papers to use on the ready whenever you want to, you know, which is what I plan to do with these. It's just to hold on to them and use them as I need some colorful collage. Because what's nice is, you know, when you collage with it, you can stamp on this and then, you know, have a cool, like, and rip it out and have like a cool kind of, like, I'll show you real quick. Here, let's use my Poodle that I just got. This is a good time to use my little Poodle that I love. It's so cute. If I can get him out of the package. Come on now, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Ah, got him. He's a stubborn little guy. Kind of like my ticker. It's because it had sticky on it, and so it stuck to the inside. Alright, let's take the little Poodle right quick. Let's take the little Poodle right quick, and now I'm sitting here trying to pull it off of the thing. Y'all don't need to see that, I'm sure, but that's okay. Okay, so let's say we want to stamp him We're going to use StazOn because if we're going to glue it down, we want to use some sort of StazOn or something. So let's say we want to take it and stamp it right here. Okay, stamp it, give it a good stamp. Perfect, voila, love it, awesome. Love that stamp, so cute. And then you rip it out. And I'm going to hit that with the heat gun just for a second so that makes sure the ink is dry. Never hurts to heat set your ink. And then I'm going to rip off any hard edges. So I'm just going to go around and just do a little tear of any of the edges that are... And I'll even save these to collage with because you know me, I'm crazy. I'm crazy. So there you go. You got your cute little... poodle-y-do. Poodle guy. Actually, I'll rip this a little further. Okay, and then you can take, here, we'll do it here. You can take your Mod Podge and a brush, and it doesn't matter what you're sticking it to. It could be your journal or a page. You want to add a little something that kind of looks cute. You can make up a whole bunch of, you know, imagine if the background was colored and you wanted to add more color to it. You know, like if it was like, let's say you had like a cool yellow background with some, you know, stenciling or whatnot. It was kind of pale looking. You can add this over it. And, you know, you wouldn't, if it already has color on the background, you wouldn't see, you know, the edge of this as much. And it would just look really cool sitting on it. But either way, that looks cool because you can see the book page through. You got the poodle. I mean, how cute is that? It just looks like the poodle is sitting on a watercolor background. It just kind of looks, you know, groovy. So that's the type of thing you can do. And you can even emboss the poodle. You can even emboss on this paper. Heat emboss, you know, stamp your poodle, heat emboss it, and then do the same thing and you'll have like a cool heat embossed. So you do lots of things with it. It's easy to make and they're great to have on hand, because they're nice and thin and they're good for throwing down some color. So if you're like, oh, I need a little bit of color in the background, you can just rip off, you know, some color and it just looks cool. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you will give it a thumbs up and share it, please. I'd appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed, it's easy. Just hit the subscribe button and you'll be subscribed. And you can hit the little bell notification that's right next to the subscribe button. There's a little bell. Click on that and you could set up email alerts so that you get an email every time I do a new video or do a live stream. You'll get notified so you know right then and there when I'm doing a live stream. But you can just subscribe and not hit the bell notification if you don't want to get any emails. You can just be a subscriber. And yeah, so also check out the links in the description below, because I have links to my Patreon, which if you haven't heard yet, my Patreon is a great way to support my channel. And in return for supporting my channel, I've got all kinds of things, like a secret Facebook group where we do all kinds of swaps and fun things and giveaways. And I've got live classes every month that you can get, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure to check out that link below. And also in the link below, I will put links to where you can get the watercolors we used and even some Prima watercolors. I'll put links to where you can get those below. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure you do what you love and love what you do and be nice to people. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.